Alright. Hey, what's up, guys? Jake with Legacy 4x4 here again.
And Matt.
And Matt, back behind me. Matt came up this weekend to deliver actually his old axles off of his Dodge, but the Willys needed an overhaul and I decided to go to solid front on the Willys. And so Matt went ahead and brought up those axles and those beadlocks off of his Dodge since he is doing a 1-ton swap. And the payment to Matt is to work on some front and rear bumpers on his daily driver. So let's go ahead and get right into that.
Recessed into the tailgate a little bit too. I'd say. Yeah. 3 inches on.
This is an 11.5 inch.
That'll cover up everything. I mean,
Let's do the 3-inch cut and then we'll see if that fits.
alright, so nice and simple rear bumper, just like the dash. It's really just a flat piece of steel. We made a box, we did some gusseted 2x2 supports in the back, and then we painted it. There's not much more to it. I color matched this bumper to the truck because I'm gonna leave the truck silver, so it's gonna be a nice big silver bullet, especially that big aluminum camper that's gonna get put on it real soon. So there's not really much more to say about this bumper. It's done for now. I will check back with you guys when we get this mounted on the truck. All we did was reuse the original mounting bolts with the original frame hanger, so super easy, bolt on with 2 bolts, just real simple, take up space rear bumper in the back of the Dodge. So really stoked with that. Now that's done, we're gonna go work on Jake's stuff. So I did end up bringing him both axles under my red Dodge. It's a 9.25 Chrysler and a Dana 44 front for my 2000 Dodge 1500. He's gonna put those on his 50 Willys. He's got to rebuild the front one because I nuked literally everything that you could nuke in the front axle. I nuked it, so he's got to rebuild that. But he's got a full set of axles now. He's gonna get rid of his IFS and just do solid suspension the whole way. He's gonna get to use my 37-inch beadlocks that I just welded and had 1 trip on. So he gets a nice free set of beadlocks, or a really good price set of beadlocks that he's gonna get to use. Let's go try and mock these axles up under the Willys and try and get both those axles in the Willys.
All right, so I'm super happy with how the rear of this looks now. I got a chance to kind of fix the pinning angle and kind of correct it from some mistakes I'd made on the first build of this Willys. And I also got a chance now to actually have these really cool bead locks that Matt made, and I'm getting them for way cheaper than what they would have cost me to do myself or what it would have cost to buy these somewhere else. So super happy with this, but we're gonna go and move on to the front and try to see how far we can get on the front before we run out of time today.
For this process, we're just going to mount the leaf springs underneath the frame, exactly where we want them, and then wherever those leaf springs center the axle, that's where the axle is going to be. Everything else we're going to figure out after that.
All right, so you guys saw there that we were tacking on the front leaf spring hanger mounts for the front suspension of this. We're using the rear leaf springs off of Matt's Dodge. I'm using as many parts off of that Dodge now that I can because Matt so graciously gave me them since he's switching to 1-tons anyways. So they were just free parts that he was trying to get rid of. So I'm going to try to use as many of those parts as possible. It's kind of changing my game plan a little bit on the truck, but that's okay. It's going to work out for the better, I think, to have solid axles all around. I ran into some issues trying to use the TTB out of the Ford. Since I had no frame of reference for how to get everything lined up properly, it was a struggle. I could have eventually figured it out, I think, but in terms of like trying to save time and be efficient with my time, and since Matt had these axles available, I just decided to go ahead and go to these. This will be a much better solution in the long run, I feel. All right, so like most things, I'm using all Barnes 4-wheel drive parts on this. I'm not sponsored by Barnes 4-wheel drive or anything like that. I just think their parts are really high quality and they're kind of semi-local to me in North Carolina, so I get my parts pretty quickly from them. Since we were swapping in the different rear and we had the opportunity to re-weld in some new perches, I decided to go with the U-bolt eliminator kits from Barnes. I'm doing that in the front and in the rear of the truck, which I think is going to help out really nicely to kind of clean things up a little bit. And just so that way I don't have to run any U-bolts. I can just run regular 5/8" bolts on all four corners of the truck. Also using the Barnes 4-wheel drive leaf spring hangers and the shackles and the boomerang shackles from them as well. So we're definitely changing the build plan for this Willys quite a bit now. With the solid axles front and rear, it's definitely a different style than what I was originally going for, but that's okay. I can get these from Matt for a steal and in return for a little bit of labor, so it's totally worth it to me. I think this is gonna make the Willys a lot better. Moving forward on the Willys, I'm doing a lot of design changes, but I'm also starting to kind of dress the Willys into a different direction at this point. So the Willys is gonna be my beater. It's always been the plan for it to be the beater. So like there's a few imperfections on this and I'm just gonna keep it the way it is. And now the plan now is to put the suspension in, put the steering in, run the plumbing and get this truck running as quickly as I can so I can just start abusing it and using it off-road. Alright guys, that's it for this weekend. We didn't get quite as far as we wanted, but it was just a short weekend, so we knocked out as much as we could in the time that we had. We did get the rear axle on the Willys remounted with the new 9 1/4 from Matt. We also got the 237 beadlocks mounted on the rear here, and then we started tacking up the front and kind of getting a little progress done on the front of this. I'll have to finish the rest of that myself.
It's a lot of work. We only had one day. We got bad time crunches, so.
Yeah, it's just a lot. We did knock out Matt's bumper too on the back of his Dodge. He decided to keep the ranch hand bumper on the front. He's just doing some color match paint to kind of tie the whole thing together. Overall, not a bad weekend. It's always fun to get to work with Matt and get to hang out a little bit. So at least we got to do that this weekend.
It was a lot of work. We're both pretty sore. We both had pretty rough weeks, but you know, any weekend we can come see each other is a really good weekend for us. So even though we didn't get as much as we would like to have gotten done, it's still a good weekend. I think we both enjoyed it, and you know, progress is progress. And eventually these will all be done, and then we can just laugh about it. But for now, it's just grinding away on some cool projects.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and take care.